Welcome to the podcast, LFX Media Live. This is our first actual multi-stream, so we want to say thank you to the people who are joining through Facebook, people who are joining through YouTube, and our platform, LFX Media Live, our own platform. I'm your host, Podgy Carter. I'm also here with my co-host.
Yes, sir. J-Pad, the juggernaut
The Custom Beat King.
in the building.
So stop what you're doing, like, share, comment, all of that. Tune in, tap in.
Yes, indeed.
LFX Media Live. How's
That's
it
right.
going, J-Pad?
Can't complain, man. Everything's good, man. You already know. Another
Mm-hmm.
day in the life, baby. You already
Did,
know what it is, man. Cooking and booking.
right. Did you break any resolutions yet?
um, I'm not a resolution guy. Every
Right.
year is what it is.
Right.
Whatever I accomplished last year, I hope to match and supersede that. That's about it. Last year was very, very productive. I mean, from podcasting to you know building studios all around this community and releasing a lot of my own personal music, which is a big difference in the shape of things. But at the same time, Cleveland, New York, Atlanta, you know, I had releases in all of those cities and then some, even overseas, Guadeloupe. Got some other things brewing in Germany and England.
Hmm.
So it's been a pretty productive year, and there's a lot that I'm missing out right now on
Mm-hmm.
as far as what actually transpired. There's much more than even that. But yes, just to put it in a nutshell, it was quite productive, and it's already looking to be even topping that already. I've made my return trip to Cleveland. I actually just got back in town from Cleveland,
Okay.
working with an artist out there. Just released a single on the second day of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going pretty well. It's actually selling. For those who caught what I just said, it's not streaming; it's actually selling. Um, so that's another thing that's going down. I was just live last night from the West Coast with Miss Toy and K Wise on the lovely radio show. That's every Thursday night on Spreaker.com and YouTube as well. You know what I mean? So our stream was going through on the YouTube thing. It's already been a very productive week, first week
Mm-hmm.
of the year, that's for sure. So it's a good sign of things to come down the road.
Have studio will travel.
Yes, indeed. It doesn't even matter if the studio. Well, the nice thing about it is in most places I don't have to bring hardly anything anymore because they're already established places and
Mm-hmm.
they have their own setup. You know, tailored to my liking, obviously, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's very adaptable. Every setup is very adaptable. Even got a setup at home. You know, I'm a guy that believes in small devices, so I've been able to actually take my phone and do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of work on the move as well without having to lug a lot of equipment around. Just a book bag and my laptop and an adapter for this iPhone, and pretty much have a studio on the go.
Well, when you come down here, I'll just have my voice and you bring everything else. And we do this audio book.
Absolutely, it'll be quite a interesting footage, if you will, because more than likely, all I'll need to do is bring my controller. Like I said, once again, the iPhone, which is a powerful device. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have one, I think you should get one. Um, and
Yeah.
everything can be done right there in the phone, all cloud, all virtual. It would be great footage.
Yeah, I believe we're on iPhones right now doing this podcast.
We actually are. We actually are. It's funny because the two videos that I shot last year, late last year, Both of them were filmed on this particular phone that I'm actually broadcasting from tonight.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have the 14. I haven't used it so much for video, but I can't wait to utilize all of the
surely.
features on it.
Oh my, I'm trying to tell you something special. Let me put it to you like this for the listeners out there. This is an iPhone SE. It's not anything near the 14. And you can make a lot of things happen with one of these. It's all about what you choose to do. It's the desire strictly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it can be done. I mean, I run the MPC, like I'll have this hooked up to it and create beats with it. Pop up Band Lab, which is a fully virtual recording studio on your phone or on your desktop, your phone, you name it. You can do it with this new platform, which is also a social platform, and it's called BandLab. BandLab.com. You want to find me on there? I got music released on there. I got released on Bandcamp.com, which, like I said, some people are in the business of streaming. I'm in the business of selling, and my products are for sale. If you go on my website, it's basically going to tell you to buy the track here instead of it being a situation like where you got to go to Spotify to stream it, or you got to go to any of these streaming platforms, which I don't have a knock against them because I do collect royalties off of them as well. But as far as the personal juggernaut music, it definitely is for sale. That's just the angle that I like to go with my personal music, and that's how we're working it. That's how we're working it, man.
Yeah, that's good. I actually saw Juicy J online. I think it was a short or a reel, one of those. That's what's popping right now.
Sure.
He said he looks at 3 sample requests per day and
Hmm.
okays all of them. He said he lets all the legal team do all the paperwork and he just count the checks.
Well, somebody has to do it. Somebody
Yeah.
definitely has to do that, and
Yep.
I tip my cap to him.
Yeah. I've seen artists turn down people like, nah, I don't want them. Like, I said, that's an interesting approach by Juicy J. Like, I don't care who wants to sample my songs. I'm getting a
Exactly.
check for it. So,
Exactly.
sounds about
Exactly.
right to me.
Sounds like a winner to me. I'll take it.
Yeah. So, the topic that we chose today was versus the
Yeah.
pandemic effect. And because March 11th of 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic on the 11th. And by
Yeah.
the
That's very interesting. That's my birthday.
another trip
So
around the
I'll
sun.
never forget that because it was my birthday and the pandemic absolutely just took it there.
Yeah, I was in transition and I think I was Ubering before the pandemic came. And then I got my license to sell insurance around the transition time when, matter of fact, I was working for US Health
Hmm.
and the test that I had to go take at a local college, I took the test, passed the test. So I'm training. I'm doing a 5-day training. And during the training, that's when everything got shut down and I was sent home and had to work from home. But
Wow.
to me, it turned out it was too costly to sell insurance because you had to pay for your leads, you had to pay to join these groups, and a lot of other stuff that I wasn't prepared to pay for. But it was a great experience. I'm certified to sell insurance in the state of Texas. Another thing under my belt, another feather in the hat, another stream possible. It's all about streams, financial literacy. But after March 11th, Then March 15th was the shutdown, you
A
know, so
complete one. It's
complete
funny. I
shutdown.
just got back from Florida. I was on my way back from Florida, and lo and behold, as soon as I touched down, I realized that it was over.
Done.
Done, son.
Dunsky. Yep. So March 24th, here comes Versus TV, which, it was considered a webcast. Two producers, Timbaland, Swizz Beatz, they created a musical phenomenon from that date, and they got a lot of us through the pandemic, you know, and
Right.
it's still operating through this date. That's why it's interesting that you look back on a pandemic, which is 2021. This is now 2023. The verses stretched all across from the pandemic and still is going on, and we're still like experiencing effects from the pandemic, you know.
Surely.
So Swizz and Tim, they entertained us. Uh, it was very entertaining, you know. I missed the first few, but once I caught on, it was, you know, it had us all in. So
Mm.
to this date, there's 43 episodes, and this is something a lot of people probably never even tuned in. And that's what shows like this are good for. You can go to YouTube, you can pull up any of these versus competitions. Like I said in the beginning, it was pretty bad audio, bad video, but they got it together. They worked the
Yeah.
kinks out.
Eventually.
They had 5 specials, 2 seasons, and it was from March 24th till today. We still waiting on, I believe it's Jermaine Dupri and Puff. And I saw an interview with Jermaine, and he said we're still doing it. It's going to be in Atlanta. It's
Mm.
open for discussion. So that'll probably be the next one. But it's gone to such a level now that Swizz and Timbo, it's hard to top the last thing that they did. So basically, I think it's about money at this point,
It is. It is.
because
Anybody
if
that's watching it now has to believe that.
mm-hmm, yeah, there's certain artists, Drake versus Jay-Z, in which I do plan on doing a follow-up from this podcast, and you know, heads up, we got one coming. It'll be like a virtual Drake. It would be a made up, Drake versus Jay Z. The only way we'll probably see it is if Timbo give Drake a couple million and give Jay Z a couple million.
No, I'm
That's only,
sure.
and it'll be recouped because some records were set,
Oh yeah,
and
the stream definitely pays.
yeah, some records were set, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, the effects of the actual versus competition. When you look at, because Title was tied in with it too. What Title did was the next day after the competition, they'll have the playlist from the verses, and the streams went up substantially for
Oh,
every
I can only
artist.
but imagine it did.
So yep, it was 2 10-song rounds, about 3 hours. A lot of people came out late, which I guess making dramatic entrances.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they would battle or they would appreciate each other. Some were at each other's neck. Some were, like Jill Scott and Erica Badu. They appreciated each other's music. That was one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, and with those two, how could you not like you know get down with that? I mean, that's got to be one of the the highlights. As a matter of fact, on Vulture.com, they ranked that versus number two. Number two,
yeah,
and basically they said, um, the scene setting poetry from Nikki Giovanni before the battle,
Hmm.
you know, Jill revealing that the hook for The Roots You Got Me was the first piece of music that she ever did write,
Hmm.
you know, and it definitely was something that was really a classic versus. And I have
Yeah.
to definitely I have to agree with them. It was up there. It was up there, one of the top ones, you know, that they had going down. Just real briefly, they had number three was RZA and DJ Premier. Well, number one, they had Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle, which of course,
Hmm.
how can you go wrong with that? They also
Hmm.
had Raekwon and Ghostface at number four.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, number five, we had D'Angelo, and that's one that a lot of people didn't realize. D'Angelo had no competitor.
Hmm. Right.
He had absolutely no competitor. He just came out and did his thing, and
Yeah.
it
Came
still
out
was a
with a
versus.
Yeah. He came
You
out with
had,
a keyboard and
oh yeah, playing
just
guitar,
hmm
yeah, which he actually is a Prince kind of like guy because
yeah.
he's proficient at multiple instruments. I believe
Hmm.
on one of those albums, I believe it was Voodoo, the one he won the Grammy for, Album of the Year.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't even realize that D'Angelo has won a Grammy for Album of the Year, and that was Voodoo. And
Hmm.
it was a classic album, by the way. If anybody never got a chance to listen to the entire Voodoo album, I suggest you go listen to it because come to find out from my, digging that I do, he actually played most of the instruments on that album.
Right, which makes him very similar to the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah. Well, at one time he was formerly known, and then he came back and became Prince again.
Right. The symbol,
Yeah, the
whatever you want to
symbol.
call him.
Yeah, that was definitely a defiant statement, and it
Right.
kind of flew over a lot of people's heads because they didn't know what he was doing, and he was
Hmm.
kind of like throwing shots the whole entire time at the recording industry, um, namely Warner Brothers, because they had him in a contract that he wasn't digging, and he had to send a message. He said, "Hey, look,
Hmm.
you guys can't own this stuff that I'm doing." You know,
Hmm.
he had to reclaim some ownership. And it's funny, right before he passed away, they finally turned all of his masters over to him. It was kind of
Hmm.
crazy. But nonetheless, D'Angelo was one of those guys. He's still a living and breathing machine. Number six, they had Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley Brothers.
Hmm.
At number seven, it was the E40 versus Too Short versus. And believe it or not, even though it had one of the top, you know, live streams, at number eight, Vulture.com has Brandy versus Monica,
Hmm.
and that one was a big one. It was huge.
Yeah, it was huge, and it was previous to the actual verses. There was some unsettled situations with Brandy and Monica. They came to, I don't know if they came to blows, but I know they came to words a couple of times about, I don't think it was their music. It was just, you know, female situations, and I think Brandy wanted to have a sit down before the verses, but I don't think it happened. But they actually was going, word for word, talking about some situations that you could feel the heat. You definitely could feel the heat.
Oh,
But
no doubt, no
what I
doubt.
liked
I think
about
she made
Brandy,
a reference at some point in that verses that the song is mine.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah.
A little bit of
Speaking
shade.
of
A little bit of
yeah, speak
shade.
all the way. It's just, it wasn't an all out cat fight. But what I liked about Brandy as well, some of the references that Biggie made, she added that to her verses. Some of the reference that Tupac made about Brandy, she added that to her verses as well.
Right,
Hmm.
right,
That's
right,
my
right.
that's my.
Which is it's beautiful being footage.
Hmm.
A little
That's it.
controversy in, but I think overall they still like each other. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Even though they had a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I think it overall is nothing but respect. It was nothing
Com-
but respect. At number 9, they had Red versus Meth, Red Man
hmm.
versus Method Man, which they definitely did their thing as well on.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I got glimpses of it, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
that was
I
one I
didn't.
actually did get a chance to see. I said I
Uh,
really didn't pay too much attention to the verses, but I
hmm.
did watch that one. I did watch that one, and it was really, it was classic, classic
Hmm.
Red and Meth. Of course, when Red did the Superman lover,
Hmm.
Meth was holding Red's cape.
Wow.
Yeah, they had of course they came out with a rendition of Wu Tang Clan ain't nothing to f with,
Hmm.
and of course they brought RZA and Deck out there, so it was
Yeah, I
pretty
heard the
classic.
end. The end was packed full of featured, Wu Tang and other, did EPMD come out as well?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they did a little mini set
Yeah, it
out
was
there.
a
They
stage
actually let
full of.
them go ahead and even K Solo, I believe
Okay.
he made an appearance.
Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think they did a tribute to DMX in that one. It was a pretty dope verses. Pretty
Hmm.
dope, pretty dope. But overall, I mean, the verses thing, as you can see, I mean, they went on a nice little run after that pandemic kicked off.
Hmm. They
Yeah,
did.
it was something that was entertaining for the people.
Hmm.
Couldn't really go too many places.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was gonna say. Unless you got that PPP loan, or you know.
which really at the end of the day was income you were going to make anyway.
Hmm.
You were going to make that no matter what anyway. And it really didn't amount to me to much. It
Hmm.
didn't amount to much. Even if you got it, if you looked at your regular income before the pandemic,
Hmm.
that was nothing but, saying it was kind of like them putting a band aid on things and saying, look, this is kind of like what you would have made.
Right. Some people
If,
took advantage and went all out. You know,
oh, sure they did.
they got
Sure
a
they did.
bonus.
Depending on, I guess, what you got from them,
Hmm.
because there was different tiers, obviously, of what you would get. It was based off the income that you were making before the pandemic hit, and then
Well.
they determined an amount and they cut you a check.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
was
some
seeing
people did.
people.
I would imagine that they took advantage of it.
Oh
And
yeah, I saw people bouncing from LA to Vegas to Miami to Atlanta, all in, all in the same summer. Like boop
wow,
boop boop
Houston,
boop
Atlanta,
boop.
Vegas.
Yeah, he was in Atlanta, Vegas all day.
Wow,
But but
wow, that was really interesting. But yeah, that's what Versus did. It
hmm.
kind of like kept people entertained.
Hmm.
Here on the list here, they had at number 10 was the Gucci Mane versus Jeezy,
Oh
which
yeah,
that was a pretty
live from
spicy.
Magic City.
That was a
Yeah,
pretty spicy addition, if you will.
it was some scary undertones on that. Some energy that needed to be released that I'm sure they talked about it ahead of time, but it was still kind of surprising to Jeezy how hard he was coming at him. He was like, "This for the culture, man. We are the culture." That's what Jeezy said. You know, and they actually ended up doing So Icy at the end, which kind of mellowed things out. But
Yeah. It was a couple of moments in that one where I definitely thought the fisticuffs at the very least were gonna fly. But
yeah, yeah, they were, right and within swinging range. So yeah, could have jumped off for sure.
yeah, but I give credit to Jeezy because he kind of like was the bigger man the whole night.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was. He was the bigger man. You know, he was taking the insults and he was telling. He kind of like put Gucci back in his perspective.
yeah. I mean, the Billboard scorecard, and we're going to get to a couple. Well, I'm only going to get to one scorecard because I don't want to read through these songs so you're not able to hear them. But the Jeezy Gucci scorecard was 12-9-5 Jeezy, and the five being five ties, and 12 wins for Jeezy and 9 wins for Gucci. That's what Billboard magazine said.
I think that kind of was accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
It was
mean,
pretty accurate.
yeah.
Um, at number 11 on the list, it was Swizz Beatz and Timberland,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, that was the first battle that they had.
Well, actually, they battled twice. There was a rematch.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're basically saying number 10 was battle number one.
Oh, they said battle number one?
Yeah, battle number one hit number 10 on
Okay.
their list.
Okay. I was thinking the rematch in Miami was something that could be more judged because they were both in their cars on the first one, both, sipping, sipping, sipping
Yes,
with no structure. But hey, it works if you twerk it.
yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Whatever
Hmm.
is beautiful, bean footage,
Hmm.
as
Yep.
I like to say.
Yeah, they had a slight bidding war um, after they got some traction, and they went into a partnership with Apple Music, which I thought was a great move
Of
because
course, it was.
the numbers, because I'm all into the analytics. After they partnered with Apple, you saw so many Apple people hopping in and subscribing, and made a big difference in the numbers. And a big part of the elevation was Timberland, to me, creating a Versus logo and registering uh, the trademark and the LLC, making it legit. We have a
Well,
business
that
here.
was the only thing that they should have done.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, Timberland has expanded. He has his own Beat Club, which I'm an affiliate member of Beat Club.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've been able to unlock, opportunities just from being in that. But you could tell Timberland was kind of like the ringleader of this movement, because he kind. Well, and don't get me wrong, Swizz Beatz is on his business level as well,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely Timberland was the more, to me, in my personal opinion, he was the one. He was the
Mm-hmm.
one that kind of like got this thing all, legitimized and carried it further, and Swiss played along with it, So it was cool, man. It was definitely cool. I think the Jay Z back and forth, that was a classic. That was a classic part of that battle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it started, like I said, in Summer Jam. Timberland came out with Pony from Genuine, and then
Absolutely.
Swizz hit him with What Y'all Want, and then
Hmm.
Timbo came back with a Missy cut. Swizz came with the Jay Z Money Cash Hoes, and then
No, of course.
Timberland, Jay Z. It was a Jay Z, fest, really. If we're talking about,
Oh yeah, the Drakes, the
mm-hmm,
Kanye West joints, Aaliyah.
mm-hmm.
Had to throw Aaliyah in there, of
Oh
course.
yeah, 1 in a million, absolutely.
No question.
But the Rough Riders anthem and what's
I
the other?
believe they were probably up there the longest out of anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They really were. I think it was that was something that I'm pretty sure was tough to call. at the end of the day because
Mm-hmm.
between those two guys, geez,
Yep.
how many hits of the airwaves,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep. Yeah. What I'm gonna do is right now I'm gonna go over the Miami rematch that Swizz and Timbo did in at Club Live. I'm gonna go round by round and let you know what song they dropped and who won the round. I'm gonna do it real quick because,
Okay.
like I said, we some people are like what song? I don't remember that, but "Drop" that was the first song by Timbaland,
Oh boy,
and then Swizz came
boy,
with
who
it.
remembers drop?
Right.
I do. that
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Angie
was
Stone.
that was a really really dope record, by the way.
Absolutely.
And a lot
Timberland.
of people don't even know that that was him on the production.
Exactly. It was just like a little, flex. Like, I know I was on drop, right? Okay. So then Swizz comes with the Angie Stone, "Wish I Didn't Miss You." That was, on
Mm.
Swizz's palette. And the
Yeah, he
winner was,
definitely had a nice palette of R&B cuts that people
oh yeah, they
probably
both do.
didn't recognize I
They,
mean Swizz Beats for.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, he definitely had it.
Mm-hmm. So that round one went to Swizz. Round two was "Work It" by Timbaland, and Nicki Minaj's "Roman's Revenge." That was Swizz's contribution. Uh, Timbo won with "Work It." Round three, "Dirt Off Your Shoulders," Jay-Z, and that was Timbaland. And Swizz came with Jay-Z's "Anything," and Timbo won that round. It's round three. Round four, "Big Pimpin'" by Timbaland, and the Rough Rider anthem. And Swizz came out with a win on that one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. Wow. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
a really interesting story behind that anything track. Um, it's kind of controversial around here because it was actually a producer from Pittsburgh that originally designed that track
uh
and just so happened to slide through the cracks, and
huh.
there it is.
Yeah, it happens.
It does.
Hmm.
If people don't think that the industry pays attention to the common folk, if you will,
Yeah.
they do a lot. They listening to us all the time. Every time
Hmm.
you guys put something up on the platform, oh, trust me, they're tuning in. Their ears are glued in. They're looking. They may not say anything, but they hear you.
Hmm. Yep. So round five, we had "Try Again" by Aaliyah. That was Timberland's song,
Oh
and
yeah.
Swizz came with World War Two" for the Rough Riders. I got it. I got it.
Right.
We talk about war, it's hard to spit it out, but if you don't remember, that's the song where he started with "Tugboats."
Oh yeah. Yeah, he
Boom,
was a uncanny
boom.
with that type of stuff.
Hmm. That was Jada
That was
Kiss.
his thing. He would definitely throw some things in there that you wouldn't expect
Hmm.
from a hip hop producer, and
Yeah.
that kind of like made him stand out.
Hmm. So he had Face, Snoop, and Kiss on that, but actually, Timbo won round five with "Try Again" by Aaliyah over
Yeah,
World War
it's
Two.
kind of hard to beat that one.
Yeah. Hmm. Round six, "Is That Your Chick" by Jay-Z. That was Timberland.
Right, that
Down,
Missy hook on it.
mm-hmm, Down Bottom, the Rough Riders, the joint with Juvie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But Timbo won that round with "Is That Your Chick," Jay-Z. So
Mm.
we had
Yeah,
some
that's
controversial, and I feel like, as you see me go through the list, Swizz, I think he could have came with a few better songs, but we'll
oh
run
sure he
through.
could have.
Round seven, "Jigga Who" by Timberland, and
Oh yeah.
the famous remix with Ye and Ross. Swizz wins that round
Okay.
with the famous remix with Ye and Ross. I like Jigahoo. It was a nice spill. I liked it, but on to round 8, Drunk in Love by Timbaland versus Upgrade You by Swizz. And
Mm,
Timbo comes out with the win. Drunk in Love.
definitely kind of hard
Oh
to
yeah. Oh,
supersede that one.
oh yeah. It gets rougher. Round 9,
Sure does.
he came with Partition, Timberland,
Oh yeah.
and Swizz came with Give Me Body.
Woo.
So yeah, so that round 9 went to Timbo with Partition. Round 10, Tom Ford by Timberland.
Oh boy.
It's Me, Snitches by Swizz. This one turns out to be a tie.
Ooh. Mm. Now that's
Yeah,
interesting.
very. So
I
round
would have
of,
thought Timberland would have got that one as well for
oh
that
yeah,
record.
oh yeah. Um,
That
round,
Tom Ford beat was just
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was a nice
Jay-Z knew
presentation.
exactly what to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So round 11, we have Promiscuous, the Nelly Furtado song from Timberland, versus Bring 'Em Out by Swizz.
Mm.
This one round turns out to be a tie as well.
Mm. Mm. That's really interesting.
Yeah, this is
That's
Billboard
really interesting.
magazine. Yeah, that's why I brought it to the table so we can see how interesting it really was.
Mm.
Um, you know, everybody. I mean, it's art, so everyone has an opinion. But I
Sure.
love going to Billboard. You know, they're not the Bible, but you know, I use Billboard a lot. So round 12, The Potion by Timberland
Oh yeah.
versus I'm a Hustler by Swizz. Well, round 12 goes to Swizz. Um,
Sounds
round
like right.
Yeah, that was correct. The Mundo. Round 13, Timberland came with Pony. So I was like, okay, here come Timbo with all of his bombs. He dropping bombs. He came with Pony, and Swizz came with Ultralight Beam. Chance the Rapper
Wow.
and Ye. It's a decent song, but you know who won that round? Timbo with Pony.
Hmm.
Um, round 14, we Timbo comes with another bomb, One in a Million. and
Oh boy.
your boy Swizz comes with uh, Whatever You Want. So, of course, Timbo won that. You could have came with anything, Swizz. This one of the billion. Uh, round 15, Timbo came with some Rough Riders. He switched it, Locks Eve, Ride or Die.
Sure.
hmm And Swizz comes with Banned from TV.
Oh wow.
Round 15 goes to Swizz. You already know.
Yes, indeed.
Round 16, we had F With Me, You Know I Got It. That's Timbo. And that was off a great album. I mean,
Surely.
probably uh, one of the best projects Jay-Z put together as of recent music, you know,
Absolutely.
444. And Swizz came with a Jay-Z song, On to the Next one.
Whew.
So
Boy, oh
round
boy.
six, round 16 goes to Swizz for On to the Next one over the Rick
Mm.
Ross joint with Jay-Z.
I guess he knocked him on to the next one.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one, which is round 17. Holy Grail with Justin Timberlake That's
Mm,
Timbo.
another Jay-Z. Boy, I
Yeah.
tell you what, Jay-Z goes back and forth with these guys.
That's what they did.
Literally.
So when he came out, with Swizz came with to match Holy Grail, Styles P, Good Times. Swizz came
Okay.
with.
Okay.
Hmm. So I actually want to talk about Justin Timbo for a second. Now, staying in tune with the verses, we know that Timbaland did a lot of songs with Justin Timberlake, and it was Swizz's desire to get Justin Timberlake on a platform for verses, and he was calling Justin Timberlake out a lot of times because he reached out and Justin Timberlake, he was like, Timberland, use your connection, get him. We want him on, but
Hmm.
it never took place, and that's one of those things where cash rules.
Absolutely.
Coming with the right bread, you can get Justin Timberlake. Take money to make money. That's my hot take on that.
That's the hot. Hey, that take is hot enough to stand the test of time.
Hmm. Yeah, he kept mentioning it all throughout because they did lives after the verses and would do a recap on how the verses were. And during those lives, he would be, "Where you at, Justin? Where you at?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hmm. But round 18, Get Your Freak On, that's Timberland, versus Money in the Bank by Swizz. Swizz wins that round 18.
Okay.
Round 19, The Jump Off with Little Kim, that's Timberland. And,
Yes, I remember that one.
mm-hmm, yeah, it was a club banger. And Swizz came with Remy, Whatever. Put your right hand up, put your right hand up. I have to put it into perspective so people like, whatever. Okay. Round 20, uh, he came with LL Cool J, Headsprung. This is Timberland versus Party Up by DMX with Swizz. That round goes to Swizz, round 20.
Dig it.
Yeah. So overall, Billboard, they said it was a tie.
Sheesh.
That's why I said,
The experts at Billboard.
yeah, Swizz could have came with a few better songs and just, finished them. But, guess he was being nice. But another challengeable Billboard score was Ross and Change. I won't go through all the songs, but it was 11-10 with four ties in Ross's favor.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I see.
Yep. And the song that stood out, the round that stood out to me was round 16. You remember Pop That by uh what's my man name? Pop That, French Montana.
Oh, that's right.
Pop That versus It's a Vibe by Two Chains, and they gave it to Ross. I was like, nah, I think
Oh boy.
I liked It's a Vibe over Pop That.
Yeah, I think it's just the way I remember I was still in my DJ mode at that time in the clubs, and
Mm-hmm.
that song would get a very strong amount of requests.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I do love the Two Chains record. I just would get that request frequently. That was just something that people like to turn up to.
Mm-hmm.
They were out, and so that kind of makes sense.
Pop That actually was a Bad Boy produced song that Pop That actually, that's uh, Luke Skywalker saying that. and he didn't ask for permission for that sample. So when the song came out,
No, he
Luke
definitely didn't.
Luke said,
But it
"Yeah,
was
you
like
owe
he
me,
chipmunked
you,
Luke.
you owe
He
me a
gave him
couple
a
of
little
dollars."
chipmunk effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you really couldn't tell that that was him.
Mm-hmm. But if
But
you
I
know,
did.
you know.
I kind of had a feeling that that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
Beat Smiths, no.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely are aware of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So like I said, I missed the first seven. I'm gonna go through the first seven. Swizz and Tim, you know, and these was all on Instagram. Boy Wonder versus Hit Boy, that was number two.
Okay.
Dream versus Sean Garrett, they were, sloshed. Neo versus Jonte Austin. Scott Storch versus Manny Fresh. So you producer guys, you know, go back and pull up these YouTube verses. All you have to do is type in Scott Storch versus Verzuz Manny Fresh, and you'll get that challenge. I love both of those producers. Manny Fresh for the New Orleans sound, a lot of the horns and traditional New Orleans sound, is included in the Manny Fresh sound. And
He
Scott
definitely
Torch.
had that. He definitely pioneered that.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it.
Yeah,
No
and
question
he
about it. His
has
brand
quite.
is distinguishable, if you will.
Mm-hmm. He has quite a few samples floating around as well that he's
Absolutely. This is
approved.
the era where those guys from those times are actually getting a double back because their music
Mm-hmm.
is being reissued in another fashion.
Right. So the verses that I came in at was verses 8, and it was RZA versus DJ Premier. If you get a chance
Oh man.
to go back
Oh
to go
man.
back and check out, this is for the producers and the hip hop heads. The first
Oh
8,
yes. Oh yes. These are
and they
some of
were.
the heavyweights here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if
And
you know anything about either one of these guys' catalog,
mm-hmm.
man, jeez Louise, it's just
Yeah.
a it's just a microcosm and a macrocosm at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you even have Boy Wonder versus Hit Boy, Manny Fresh and Scott Storch, as you said. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you had some really strong production um, battles,
Oh
and
yeah.
that was a big thing. It was
Mm-hmm.
a big thing. It was really big. I mean, I'm very thankful as a producer that they actually took some of this platform and put the producers in the right perspective.
Yeah, that was the foundation of verses. You got two producers, Swizz and Tim,
Hmm.
that appreciate each other, of course, but
Absolutely.
that bravado and that hip hop competition is just in them naturally, and they followed
I mean,
suit.
they
You.
just caught like fire. And then before
Mm-hmm.
you knew it, you had the classic R&B. You
Oh
had even
yeah.
the old school even were able to participate in this.
Mm-hmm.
And
E40 and Too Short.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, from the hip hop classics to the R&B classics, even.
mm-hmm.
Think about it. You had Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
You had Babyface and Teddy Riley.
Mm-hmm.
You had some pretty. To me, the matchups were. I thought they were adequate. Thought they were adequate. Even Earth, Wind, and Fire and what was that? Earth, Wind, and Fire. And,
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire, minus Steve Harvey. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
He was
yeah,
a
yeah.
little
They
irritating,
got in
but
there, and well, it was
yeah.
the Isley Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Steve was smoking his cigar and not
Oh my
caring, like
goodness.
blowing smoke in their face. I'm like,
Oh my goodness. What was he doing?
yeah, but
But anyway.
yeah, that the guitar player. for the Isleys, he did some, and go watch the Isleys and Earth, Wind and
Earth, Wind, and
Fire.
Fire.
The guitar. I'm just into instruments, so you know what I mean. Go check that versus out on YouTube. Isleys versus Earth, Wind and Fire. But the DJ Premier versus RZA.
Oh yeah,
Actually, I'm a guy who is all into the comments as well. So they were having some technical issues. I don't
they
know if it was
were.
with their sound. And do you remember who saved the day?
Trying to think. Hmm.
Engineer from the Joe Budden show, Parks.
Oh wow,
Parks came through and hooked
tightened
them
it
up.
all up.
Yep, he tightened it up. Yeah, but I got to go back and watch that Bounty Killer versus Beanie Man. Definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, this thing expanded over into other genres of music.
Mm-hmm.
And they really had some heavy hitters out there. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, Kirk
Bounty Killer
Franklin
and
versus
Beanie
Fred
Man.
Hammond.
You know, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, Kirk Franklin, yeah, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it really ended up holding people down after a while, and you were anticipating it because, like I said, they had us on lockdown for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and it was genius to do it because they knew exactly what to do in a time like that.
Mm-hmm. People are anxious. You got anxiety. Um, you don't you don't want to go out, and most aren't going out. So the actual verses was like being a kid in the '70s. When good times come on, like everybody in front of the TV. You know. Yeah, but part two, when they had better audio and visual and they added the live performances, that's when Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond came on and they brought out Marvin Sapp and Tamla Mann, Alicia Keys and John Legends, legendary verses, Fab and Jada. This is when, everybody was in the same room actually performing. DMX and Snoop, they broke broke a few records as well. Battle with the Dogs. Uh, we talked about Gladys and Patty. Patty is actually one of my favorite singers, you know. And for her to be the age that she is and still stays in tune with what's going on currently is amazing. Yeah, you there? You there, Pat? Okay. So season two, the highlights for me definitely was the Jeezy Gucci, and like I said, they scored that 12-9 Jeezy in Magic City. Ashanti and Keisha Cole, they tipped the scales on IG. They had 1.2 million concurrent viewers, which means all at you know, at one time, they got 1.2 million viewers, and hard accomplishment to make. So D'Angelo and Friends, that was another season two. Uh, SWV and Escape, and actually, my top, if you have a top five in rappers, you have a top five in musicians or R&B. Sometimes it's subject to change, but right now, I'll tell you my top five was all R&B. It was SWV versus Escape, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and uh, Brandy and Monica. Those are my top three, you know. So, we had Bow Wow versus Soldier Boy. Um, and I think during that one, it was a Soldier thought he was going to run away with it, but I think I should have pulled up their Billboard scorecard as well, because Soldier thought he was going to run away with it, but Bow Wow shined in it, you know. But I think Swizz was partly upset with Soldier because he chain smoked through the whole verses and was talking crazy the whole time, you know. But yeah, those were some of the highlights. Keith Sweat and Bobby, those were highlights as well. Funny times. Locks Dipset. Overall, a lot of people, that's their favorite. And I'll say, with Jada being one of my favorites, you know, I agree. But I'm going with the R&B theme. Ja Rule versus Fat Joe, another highlight. Bone versus 3-6. They got, a water bottle fight jumped off. Omarion and Mario with all of the special guests, including Ray J. Ray J made the show. Ray J made the show. Yes, he did. So, in August of 2022, last year, Timbaland and Swizz, they filed a lawsuit against Triller. Now, Triller signed to purchase Verzuz, and there was numbers thrown out there, but I think it was 28 million. I heard 40 million, but no, actually 28 million. That's the damages for what they're asking for in the suit. But Triller was supposed to pay the 43 artists involved in the verses a percentage, and Swizz and Timbo were supposed to get $1 million a month for 10 months. So I believe they're still hashing that out, and that may be some of the things that slowed down the appearances in the verses. But like I said, a lot of moments. Go to YouTube and pull up some of these verses. You'll enjoy them. Some of them were 3 hours long. Some of them a couple hours, but definitely great entertainment. Again, the top three: Brandy and Monica, 1.2 million simultaneous. Gucci Jeezy, 1.8 mil. Ashanti and Keisha, they had 1.2 million. So if you get a chance, go to YouTube and check these things out. We want to thank you for coming through. LFX Media, the podcast, is actually our first live stream and multi-stream on Facebook, YouTube, and our own platform, LFX Media. Live. We have our own platform. So if you're a content creator, you have a TV show, you have a podcast, whatever you do creatively, get at us. We want to get your content on our platform, LFX Media Live. So check us out. I'll be sending the links through Facebook. We're just getting started, so we're doing analytic checks and, the word they use, beta. We're in beta mode right now, so we're just getting it together. But trust and believe, the sky's the limit, and we're going to break through. And 2023, we have a lot of things planned with this streaming platform, and we'll talk further. We still got the book and merchandise, thericoverdict.com.co. That's .co. Books still available, hoodies available, T-shirts available. thericoverdict.com.co. So we want to thank you for coming out. We appreciate you guys. We will see you on the next pod. If you didn't know, now you know. I'm your host, Podgy Carter, signing off.